Welcome to our backyard, everyone. It's end of May 2020. We have finished the planting our vegetable garden, so I thought it would be a good timing to show you our backyard and to show you what's new to our garden this year and what we have been growing. So our backyard is around 6,500 square foot space. It's a big space. When we moved in, we only had this crabapple tree and a bunch of dead bushes along the fence. We have since cleared everything along the fence, replanted other trees, and trimmed this crabapple tree. So it's been coming back stronger than ever this year. One of the hardscape we did is to put in this big patio for grilling, entertaining, and then we really like it so far. This year I actually added the patio planters and the patio garden, which I'm going to show you in the second part of this video. Another thing we did to this backyard is that we have been cutting out big spaces like this vegetable bed from the lawn space and mulch them, which reduce not only the water use but also produce a lot of food for us to eat. So let's go take a look. We created this vegetable bed in the spring of 2018. So it has been a few seasons. We have 5 of them here. Each bed is 4 by 16, so it's a fairly large space. So this year at the corner, I actually planted a ginkgo tree. We really can use a shade tree here. As you can see, the grass here is very patchy with a lot of weeds because it's just, Colorado sun is just so beating in the summer. This ginkgo tree, if you don't know about the ginkgo, definitely go Google it because this is one of the oldest plant species on the planet. It's hundreds of millions years old. It's native to China and Japan, so I pretty much grew up with ginkgo trees, but I haven't really seen any in the United States yet. And since it lives in my zone, I decided to give it a try. The first vegetable bed, I put in strawberries and chives. Both strawberries and chives are perennial in our region, and they come back each year stronger than last year. So I just, I expect that I plant once and harvest forever. The second bed is asparagus. So as you can see, we have one asparagus. This one we planted last year. It grew so well that basically told me that, we can grow asparagus here quite well. So this year I got 25 crowns and put them all here. As you can see, some of them have started growing really, really fast. Now, all of them are, coming up great. Some are taller than others. So, maybe next year and the year after, we can start having a little bit of harvest. So the first 2 are perennial beds, and the second 2 are definitely for annuals. This year I put in 5 peppers in this bed, surrounded by the pink flags because they're quite small. And also before the peppers went in, before the end of May, I put in actually cabbage seeds and a lot of spinach, lettuce, etc. So we can harvest them, eat the greens when the peppers grow bigger. The third one, the fourth one, is our tomato bed. I put in 5 tomatoes here surrounded by cages. And under the tomato, I can usually squeeze in some radishes and beets, those root vegetables, so we can harvest both from the top and the bottom. And what this line is at the edge of the tomato bed are actually beans. The pink flags are one kind of climbing beans, and the yellow flags are a different one. So the plan is to put in some cattle panels and let it go over this pathway to create a shaded bean tunnel. So we'll see if we can get there. The last bed is our garlic bed. We plant the garlic, like a whole bed of garlic every year. It's just at the different spots, and this year happens to be the very last. As you can see, they're all coming up very strongly. We usually harvest garlic in our region around July 4th or latest mid-July. And then this bed will be basically open for the second season of crops like, more lettuces and etc. At the end of the vegetable bed, I put in 2 compost bins. The left one is completely empty right now because we just emptied it to put the compost into our vegetable garden, and the right one we've been filling it up. These 2 will basically support our whole years of use of compost, and all the kitchen scrap will go in there. So I'm not going to open it to let you see it because it's kind of gross on camera, but it's very effective, even though it's not a very good hot compost. But we have enough time to wait, so usually it works quite well in a kind of like a yearly 8 months sort of cycle. Along our back fence, we mulched the whole area. There was lawn before, and planted 5 fruit trees and 4 climbing roses. This tree is a honeycrisp apple. It didn't leaf out this year for some reason, but the branches are quite flexible and inside they're green, so I'm just going to give it another year. Maybe it just needs time. The climbing roses, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 are along the back fence, and this is going to be their 3rd spring here. And as you can see, the branches are quite strong now, so I'm actually going to start training them onto the back fence, and hopefully it will eventually cover the entire back fence. The rest of the fruit trees, we have 1 peach, 1 apricot, and 2 cherries. And this year the leafing out process has been very spotty because we had a very, very cold spring and a hard frost. So we'll see, but I think all of them are still alive, even though they're kind of like leafing from the bottom. So maybe next year they will do better. Okay, so coming to the north side of our yard, you can see our garden shed. We completely renovated the garden shed the first summer we moved here, which is like 3 summers ago, and it's still looking quite nice. We added a bee house there this year. I can also already see some occupancy, so that's a good thing. We're trying to promote native bees, and so hopefully this will provide them a nice place to live. In front of the patio, this is a huge landscaping project this year for me, is that this is a big slope, and we have been having weed issues here because grass never grow very well on this steep slope, and water just run off and make it a mud pit. So this year what I decided to do here is to create a terrace garden. I basically removed the soil right in front of the shed to create this future patio area, and flipped all the soil up there to create a second tier in the terrace garden. This second tier eventually going to become a perennial garden. I wanted to grow peony, Russian sage, sun-loving perennial flowers here. But this year, due to the pandemic, we really didn't get out to get any flowers. So the only thing I put in here so far is a tree. So this is another apple tree. It's called transparent apple. We love apples here, so we don't mind to have 2 apple trees. And transparent apple is quite different from Honeycrisp as well. You can Google it. I planted it as a twig, and it just started leafing out. So maybe next year we'll start seeing flowers. As I said, this area, the new garden, which created by removing the soil and put it up, is going to be planted with perennial flowers. But this year, since we don't have perennial flowers and I don't want it to be occupied by weeds again, what I did is to put in all the vining crops like melons, cantaloupe, squashes, and the cucumber. They're quite small right now, you can't really see, but anywhere you see the pink flag, there is a little crop there. And I'm still in the process of setting drip tubing to run to each crop. But once it's finished, it will be automatically watered, and hopefully they can grow and meet each other and become kind of a green mulch for this area before next year we plant flowers. Beyond is our herb garden. This is actually the first garden I planted in this entire property, and that's only back to 2018 spring. So this is technically their second full spring here, but look at those plants. I mean, I think they just love the spots, and since being perennial, they're just grow bigger and bigger each year. You can see the cadmium is going nuts there, and we have another mint plant over there that is doing quite well. At the back is the Egyptian onion. It's just growing taller and taller, and we got a bunch of ground covers and herbs there. This maple tree I planted last fall, and it's been leafing out quite well. So I'm very happy with this little garden here.